We all know what they say, it's recession when it's your neighbour, it's depression when it's you. There are over 6,000 people now unemployed in the Letterkenny and Milford electoral area. That represents 6,000 stressed out families worrying about today, tomorrow and about the future. We need to get Donegal people back to work. We need to come up with innovative strategies to re-energise our local economy. Here are my suggestions. A commercial rates freeze for a minimum of 2 years. The establishment of a local tendering club whereby local suppliers can buy local products at preferential rates to keep the business in the county. And thirdly, the establishment of a free business clinic for SMEs that are facing difficulties. It is time to get people back to work. We need people in jobs. As residents of County Donegal, we demand a first-rate health service. Behind me is Letterkenny General Hospital, a facility that serves a population of 140,000 people. Over the coming years, the hospital is going to face massive economic challenges, and we must demand value for those scarce resources. We must demand transparency and accountability from the HSE to make sure that we get a fair service for the tax that we pay. We must bring our infrastructure into the 21st century. Here we are, 6 kilometres from Church Hill and 8 kilometres from the urban centre of Letterkenny. Yet this area does not have a vital broadband service. In fact, many rural areas in the Letterkenny and Milford electoral area don't have a broadband service. If we are to be serious about creating jobs in the current economic climate, then we must have broadband available. I will make this one of my main priorities during this election campaign and also if elected to Donegal County Council. 250 children are educated here at Joanne Sweeney National School. Of those 250, 180 are educated in 6 prefabs, including all the special needs children. Another feature of this school is that ongoing fundraising takes place by the Parents Committee and by local people to plough in much needed funds. It is time that we demanded a fair service for the taxes that we pay to the Irish Government. €24,000 a year is spent by Joanne Sweeney National School on prefabs. This is certainly not good enough, and it's certainly not part of a long-term plan for the education of our system. We must demand change in this regard. One-man Garda stations in the firing line, just like the one behind me here in Church Hill Village. The threat of government cutbacks to extend to another rural facility, that being Garda stations, is causing great angst and concern among the local community. A sample of 150 people taken by me over the past week shows that crime is the #1 issue in this area. We must represent the people and make sure that their issues count in this election. The heart of the family lies in the community in which it lives. Since the Letterkenny and Milford electoral area has been amalgamated, local people, for example here in Termon, have expressed a concern that the rural area will become the poor relation of urban Letterkenny. The next administration of Donegal County Council must ensure that this does not happen. I will campaign for sustainable communities where we empower people to provide for themselves. Right behind me is some people who live in an estate that has been left unfinished by a developer. This is reflected in many areas around the electoral area. Getting back to basics. As a farmer's daughter, I know how hard it is for farming families in County Donegal. If we are to re-energise the local economy, we must include the land and the sea in our policies. It's very important to represent the voice of the farmer, as he is the man that is still at work and farming the land 24/7. We must promote what we have as a natural product and as a natural asset in our county. We will represent the farmers. You're all the same. Isn't that what they say about politicians? Political transparency, openness and accountability is being demanded by the electorate. In order for us to achieve this, we must make sure that value for money and expenses are transparent and the public can see what is spent by our local authority. Take for example the Ballymacool roundabout behind me. Over €1 million has been spent on that roundabout, but to date it hasn't been finished and it remains to be seen where and how that money is being spent. In order to effect some positive change in the minds of the electorate, we must communicate with them and tell them where and how we are spending this money. Here we are in the beautiful Letterkenny Town Park. Letterkenny is home to over 18,000 people. It is the commercial and urban capital of County Donegal. But the other important thing that we must remember about Letterkenny is, apart from the business that takes place here, there are many families who have to live in the green spaces and the open environment. We must ensure that Letterkenny is a community, it has community spirit, and I will make that one of my main priorities in this election campaign. Now it is time for real gender balance. A woman has never been elected onto Donegal County Council from the Milford or Letterkenny electoral area. I believe the time is now to breathe fresh air into the creaking floorboards in County House in Milford right behind me. I want to become the first woman from this area to represent you at the seat of power. It is time to beat a new path for new young women entering politics and to make change happen. If you want to make change happen, vote Joanne Sweeney Burke #1 in the local elections on the 5th of June.